You're a mum, you're a mum, you're a busy mum. Come listen to the Busy Mum podcast. Life hacks and inspiration for the busy modern mum.
In this episode of the Busy Mum podcast, I speak with Jo Downer of SquarePeg. Jo is a mum to two, has a vegan hubby, so mealtime is quite the creative challenge. Jo has been in events management, and after having her two children, she has decided to take on a different path and created SquarePeg. She has two business partners that she works with remotely. Let's dive in. Hi Jo, welcome to the Busy Mum podcast. How are you this morning?
I'm very well, thank you. Looking forward to a chat with you.
Excellent. So in true interview style, as you are from SquarePeg HR, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, my background is completely not in HR at all whatsoever. I used to be a producer, an event producer, and had a great career and travelled the world working in lots of different places, and then got married and had a family, and then decided I didn't want to go back to working in live events anymore, and so quickly discovered, what was I going to do with my skills from my previous career, and discovered that I wasn't alone in trying to work out what to do next. I started a business. I started a couple of businesses, and here I am. But I'm married with two kids and, running a small business.
Okay, so just tell me a little bit about these live events. What type of live events are we talking about? Are we talking about like Robbie Williams live events or like festivals where,
There was a bit. So I started in the music industry, and there was a lot of, went on tour and, working with an artist management company, but then kind of segued into more of the corporate style events. So, product launches, conferences, which was great. And I was able to work in London and Germany and the States and, different places in Europe. But, banking and automotive and things like that. Not quite as glamorous as Robbie Williams.
I only mentioned Robbie Williams because, I think when I was 15, he was my go-to, oh my God, yeah.
He was your crush.
He was my crush. So why didn't you do an event management style of business? Why did you go into SquarePeg and HR?
I think for me that chapter had kind of run its course, and I think when you have, for me, when I had a family, I didn't want to do the hours of live events anymore. You might, when you've got to get ready for an event, you've just got to be on, and you're in the office or on site or on location. So, just getting the job done, whatever it takes. And it's also the travel. And I think I just had such a great career. I didn't want to kind of half do it. I'd really enjoyed what I'd done, but it was just, I wanted, a bit of a new direction.
Okay. So how did you come up with SquarePeg, the idea, and are you doing it by yourself or do you have help, or how are you doing it?
So after I had my second child, I started to get a little bit kind of, I want to do a bit of work, and so my husband and I worked out, let's start a business and what are the different criterias that we wanted to have in that business. And we ended up having a limousine company, which ticked all the boxes in terms of the way we wanted to work. We could scale the business. We put the cars on with a fleet of a company so that we started earning revenue straight away. But then along came Uber, which was great. And we jumped on board straight with them. And I learned a lot about working closely with them because we were one of the first kind of, multiple car owners to jump on board. And that was a great learning experience. But then as that grew and grew and grew, we kind of realized that why would somebody come and drive for us? So we exited the business, we sold our cars, and then it was okay, what next? And I still kept meeting awesome mums at school, and they were kind of just had fantastic careers, but what did they do now? How are they going to work and around their families? And then within the same network, I kept meeting small business owners, and they were like, I just need somebody to help me with my marketing, or I need somebody to help me drive my sales, or I've got something coming up and I need a copywriter, or I want to take, my social media piece off my plate. And I kept saying, I know someone, and connecting. And so it's really, SquarePeg really started from a place of connecting people, which is why the recruitment angle didn't come in for such a long time. And somebody said to me, you're a recruiter. And I was like, no, I'm not a recruiter. I'm a connector. And I was kind of like, I hadn't even thought about it that way because, I was just kind of putting a problem and a solution together and making a job placement out of it. And then I started thinking, why doesn't this exist as a business? And yeah, so
is your niche specializing in connecting like mums that want to go back to work into jobs that are that flexible?
That's where it started.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So school hours, part-time, local, in your community. And then I started to get inquiries about it. The business roles kind of started within my career experience, so in that marketing, creative services, event kind of space. But then I started getting inquiries for, bookkeepers or an accountant, and I thought, okay, well, this is a bigger piece here, and I just kind of went with it, kept exploring it, and then in doing so, it also started kind of expanding the candidate pool, and had started with this women piece about returning to work and what do I do for the second career phase. Sole traders started coming on board because they knew that they could get clients or extra work. People kept coming on that maybe they had a business of their own, but they were doing a side hustle, and so they just needed to kind of tap into something where they could get extra work. And then men started kind of signing up, and then student or graduates started signing up, and so it's evolving. I'd certainly say that it originated with the females returning to work, but it's growing.
Yeah. Okay. So how long have you been at this business for?
I trialed it for about a year to make sure that there was a good business model case. I didn't want to be a solution to a problem that didn't exist, and I didn't want to kind of, start to go too big. So I was very much on my own for the first year. I had a different business name, and we were just kind of hyper local on the northern beaches of Sydney. And then when I'd kind of established that there was two sides to this marketplace. There was a valid business model, and we started, making money. I went to apply for a couple of accelerators, and I got to the final round, and they said, we just don't want to invest in a solo founder. You need a tech partner. And I thought, hang on a second, I'm a mum on the northern beaches. How am I ever going to find a tech founder? But, the universe prevailed, and I was connected with a great duo that actually live in Ballarat, and they're my business partners, Kat and Ellen. So they provide the tech part of the business, and together we rebranded, started a company, and SquarePeg, the automated platform, was born. Wow. At the beginning of this year, 2018.
Okay. Awesome.
So
not long, brand new company. What's it like working with partners that aren't like local to you? Like, how do you make that work?
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. We use a lot of online tools. They also have their own business that they run from home. So we've all been and worked in the space of being freelancers. We've all dabbled in different industries, and they bring, I didn't want just tech partners. I wanted people that could be strategic. So we have good road mapping sessions. We get together face to face, maybe quarterly, and flesh out kind of what is the next piece of work, or, what's coming up that needs attention. They're always, we probably have a weekly conference call, catch up. But yeah, we use a lot of online tools to plan out things, and it actually works really well.
What's like the top 3 tools that you use online?
We use Asana. We use for our kind of road mapping. We use Agiles for our CRM, and what else do we use? We probably just email after that, or Google Docs and Google Calendar.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And so, what does your typical day look like then, Jo?
So I am mum in the mornings and the afternoons, and in between is everything SquarePeg. So drop the kids off to school, and then race home, and it's a combination of so as I just said, normally I'm working from home. Sometimes I have to go into town for meetings, things like that, or I have coffee meetings. A lot of client calls, a lot of approving candidates in the platform, double checking, what jobs have come in and signed up, and making sure that reaching out to candidates to make sure that they're actually appropriate for the jobs before they're put forward. And that's, I guess my day. And then, crafting content, the endless cycle of social media and blogging, and also reaching out to different potential partners. And, because one part of our business that is growing is people that want to know how they can upskill. Or they might want to connect with a career coach, or they have somebody look over their CV. So that's an area of the business that I want to kind of, it's not my strong suit, obviously not having a recruitment background, but I want to build that side of it so our candidate pool have something they can tap into.
Okay. And going back to so you've got a few candidates on your books, obviously. What are you looking for in every candidate? Do they have to have a certain thing for you to approve them? Or is it different each time? Or how does that work?
No, at the moment, we kind of, if they've got the right skill set in one of our verticals, they're more than welcome, to sign up and create a profile. At the moment, when you sign up, it's New South Wales for face-to-face jobs, like in-house jobs. And if you sign up and you're elsewhere, then it kind of pops up to say, look, we don't have in-house jobs at the moment, but you're welcome to sign up if you've got a remote skill set, such as graphic design or copywriting, something like that. But really, there's creative services in terms of the verticals that we, our client base are looking for. There's creative services, marketing, digital, which might be, SEO or web development or design, professional services, and that can be anything from a broker, a mortgage broker, to an event manager. And then there's a general kind of category of office admin. A lot of people are looking for those type of, people that just want to be an office manager or receptionist. So if you've got skill sets in those areas, absolutely, that's the kind of people. And you can be a freelancer, or you can be looking for a job as an employee, both. Okay.
And so I know a couple of websites like Airtasker, Upskilled, and things like that. How is your business dealing with that competition?
So I would say Airtasker is something kind of similar in the sense of the model that we like, except people don't necessarily bid on a job. The client dictates where it's at. I kind of describe SquarePeg as sitting in between freelancer.com, Expert360, and we kind of represent both freelancers and employees, but you can have somebody come in-house or somebody can work remotely. We're not on demand. It's not like, oh, quick, I need a receptionist for the next day, which is kind of like
temp work.
Yeah, or like a WePloy. I think they're doing on-demand temp, things like that. So there are, within the flexible working kind of area, there are different players, but I feel like our offering is unique in the sense that we have two different types of candidates, the freelancer and on the employee, but we're also not as expensive as, using a recruitment agency, which is a higher commission. So I feel like our target market on the client side services small to medium businesses.
Yeah. Okay. That's very good. So you've carved yourself out a little niche there, which is great, because there are quite a few of them out there. I found anyway.
Yeah.
And what's the best advice that you've received, business and personal?
Oh, I think I always, whenever I feel like I'm in a bit of a rut, I've always kind of returned to the, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And I like to think of life as lots of back-to-back chapters. So it's not forever. The way you feel today isn't necessarily the way you're going to feel tomorrow. Somebody once said to me that the human resources or recruitment space, as it is champagne and razor blades. And I was like, oh, okay. Wow. But it really is like, if you have an awesome day and you've placed candidates, you've connected with great clients, and you're thinking, woohoo, and then the next day it all falls apart for whatever reason, and you hit the bottom. It's not forever, and you're, that other expression, be the change you want to see, I think is kind of where where I want Square Peg to go. It's an uphill battle in terms of educating people on, the way that you can work differently and finding all these gaps, where you can fill, but I feel very strongly about it. So, yeah, I want to be that change.
Yeah, I've always, my brother once told me having a business is like having like a massive concrete ball that you're pushing uphill and you just got to keep pushing it and pushing it up the hill until there's one point where it just all of a sudden it starts rolling down the hill and you're running after the concrete ball and going, oh my God, what have I created? So
yeah, the momentum takes it.
Yeah, and then you have to catch up. Whew, yikes. So do you have a lot of spare time around being a mum and Square Peg? Are you reading any books or watching any awesome Netflix or Stan shows?
I think when it comes, it's funny, Shark Tank popped up on the TV last night after the finale of MasterChef, and I was like, no, I can't, no, this is my time off. I can't be thinking about entrepreneurial or startup or anything, investor-wise and things like that. So I quickly switched channels. And so I think when it's my time off, I kind of go, unless it's a problem in the business that I'm trying to solve, I sometimes pop down to the library and see if there's a recent book on, a particular thing. Like the other day I was reading about growth hacking and, trying to just get a bit of inspiration to move that along in my head. But really when I switch off, it's kind of, I've got a bit of a thing about Nordic crime drama on SBS at the moment. My husband's like, you just go to some really dark places, but I really enjoy it. So that's probably my go-to at the moment.
Nordic crime drama, bring it on.
Yeah.
I was watching something totally different to that the other day because you know how YouTube have YouTube Premium? So they give you like little teaser episodes of their original seasons and stuff. So this particular one that I watched, because I watch some serious crap, Joe, I must admit, like some really bad crap.
Like a Love Island or...
I don't have free-to-air TV, which is like a godsend for me. So, but I do have Netflix and Stan, and I signed up to the YouTube one, and I was watching Sideswiped, which is about a 35-year-old girl who's single and she gets drunk on her birthday and signs up to Tinder and she's swiping away, and then the next day she decides to go out on all these dates with these guys on Tinder. I know, that's the crap that I watch.
Thank God we missed that. I feel like, that whole internet dating thing, it's probably a godsend, rather than meeting people in bars and, at least there's some kind of way to, refine who you're looking for.
I know. I met my husband at a mutual birthday party at a pub. So, there was already that mutual connection, like with this other friend.
So you knew he was all right.
Yeah. So I thought, she kind of, brought in some crazies. So hopefully,
I'll go with him. He looks, he looks
cute.
Bad. Yeah, I like that.
So moving on, you obviously are preparing meals and cooking each night, or are you more of a meal prep kind of girl?
God, I wish I was. I so wish I was. I love those people that say, oh, it's my Sunday. I spent the whole day meal prepping. And I'm like, gosh, I just wanted to sit on the couch and drink tea and, ponder the laundry. But no.
Ponder the laundry, not actually do it, just look at it and go,
No. No, I recently bought a slow cooker. But look, our house is a little bit complicated food-wise. I've got 2 kids, a husband who to their credit, they're very adventurous food-wise, and our rule in our house is you've got to try something for once, and then if you tell me that you don't like it, fine, that's cool. But my husband is vegan, and he's recently gone vegan, and I always said, if you go vegan, I'm out. That's it. Like, I'm happy with you being vegetarian. I can handle that. But vegan, I was like, too much, dropping eggs and dairy. But no, he went there. Oh. And he's an athlete, so he, not professional athlete, but he does a lot of exercise, so he's all about the protein shakes and blah blah. And then and I am trying to do keto at the moment, which is like almost the complete opposite of his diet. So it's a little bit of, I cook for the kids, and he kind of just comes in and has the bits that he can eat of whatever I've made, but he's kind of got to fend for himself.
Oh my goodness. I thought I feel like I'm cooking 4 dishes each night. Like, usually the kids will eat the same meal, but then I'll cook for Ben and I. But then sometimes he just doesn't eat. He's like, nah, I'm fasting. So I've got he just fasts. So he's not vegan, which is good. He's not a vegetarian. He loves his meat, but he'll eat like in a shorter window.
Yeah, intermittent fasting. I like that.
Yeah, but quite regularly. So, like, he might do it each day, but he'll skip breakfast and wait until 1 o'clock for lunch type of thing and do that each day. So I'll still make up meals and stuff and I'll put them in the freezer, and he loves spaghetti. So, like, at least if there's 5 spaghetti meals there, he'll be happy. But
well, I thought I was being very clever and bought a slow cooker recently, but I keep forgetting to put it on, and I remember at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm like, damn it, that defeats the purpose. It has to go on in the morning. So it's been a bit of an epic fail there.
No, we can always improve. We just, like, no day is a failure. It's just a lesson to learn. Like, you know, I really want to have indoor plants and I really want them to survive. I really, really do. But last night I was walking up the stairs and I got this really, really beautiful, delicate, like, plant that I think it's like hearts, something, chain of hearts or something. And I look past it. And it's beautiful. But last night I picked it up and the whole thing just came out of the pot. Like, it's dead.
Oh, no, you killed it. I know the one you're talking about there. They are very pretty.
Yeah, and I killed it. And I'm like, I think I need those plants that look crazy, a little bit like my hair, like a bit wild and crazy. They seem to survive in my house, but the nice, beautiful, delicate stuff, dead. So that's a shame. So I would like to improve that in my life. So what would you like to improve in your life, Jo?
Well, it's probably a little bit sad, but I wish I had more time to work, because I feel like, you know, you're talking about the concrete ball and the hill. I feel like I'm getting towards that point where it's going to gain the momentum and take off. And as much as I love, you know, the other hat I wear of mum and picking up the kids and being, you know, together, sometimes I'm just want to, my husband said to me the other day, you could just keep on working, couldn't you? And I really could. And it's so great to love what you do. But I think that's probably what I like, is probably more guilt-free work time where you just, you know, you're not compromising something else, but, you know, neglecting the children or the, you know, the family. But, yeah, just to keep going. I just don't want to, you know, I want to push it forward.
I've always said, would you rather be a werewolf or a vampire? And I've always said I want to be a vampire, because then, like, you don't have to sleep. You don't even have to eat. You could work all the time. Does that sound crazy?
No. I think if you love what you do, how good is that, to love what you do?
I know.
You know?
It's crazy.
I'm so passionate about it, definitely. I agree with you, vampire.
Vampire? Go vampires! What's the one thing you do each day, like a life hack, that makes your life run smoother? And don't say slow cooker, because we know that is not one thing.
Not the slow cooker. No, I should sell the slow cooker.
I'll take it.
Sold. No, I think what I tried to do was, because I am so into, you know, what's happening in the business, I made an agreement with myself that I wouldn't check my mobile phone until after I've dropped the kids at school. Because otherwise my day just starts then, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm not consciously in the moment with the kids. I'm not listening to what's going on with them, or, you know, they disappear off into corners of the house with technology, and, you know, really I'm neglecting them. So don't call docs on me. I'm not properly neglecting.
I know what.
No, but, you know, that's it. If I don't have my phone, then I'm not in that mindset, and I can just kind of let my day start a bit nicer. And I try to do exercise in the morning as well, but that does not always happen.
That's the first thing that goes with me, exercise. So how are you going with that phone thing? So for the last week, have you actually done that?
Yeah, most days. No, most days I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at ignoring it, because my husband's up earlier than me and the kids are up. I don't really use it for an alarm, so I can kind of leave it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Every time I leave my phone, because I try and leave it in places so I don't have to deal with it. It's kind of a running away mechanism, I call it.
Yeah.
I have so many people call me when I don't need it, if you know what I'm saying. Like, especially around school pickup, people call at 9 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and it's like, I'm out at those times, and it's frustrating.
But I kind of like it, because by the time I've dropped the kids and get back to the computer, it's, you know, 9:15 or something. And if people have called, it's kind of like I've got a good piece of work to, you know, to take on. Whereas if I've started earlier, I feel like, you know, it's like I was going to say unwrapping a present. That's really sad, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a birthday present. You need to just like put in like a good 6 months of work, don't you? I can just
I really
see it.
do. I really do. My parents have a place up at Bathurst, which is up off the grid.
Yeah.
And if I could just go there, if the children could be, maintained by my husband, I could just go there and immerse myself. And I'd be so happy, until I was like, oh, okay, now I need some company.
Yeah.
Hello.
I started talking to myself.
Yeah, going crazy.
Okay, so we've got some quick questions and then I'll let you get on with your day.
Go.
What websites have you signed up to recently that you actually find value in receiving their emails?
There's a couple that I like. I like Neil Patel. He's a guy in the States that he does kind of content marketing, SEO hacks and things like that. And they're quite easy to implement, little steps. And I always find he's quite pragmatic and, sensible. I like Lisa Corduff. She is all about kind of subscription. Not that I have a subscription platform, but she's kind of a bit of a real talking, successful women in business. I don't really like the word mumpreneur. I like, woman in business more so. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I am always, and Startup Daily, what other people are doing.
Yes. What are they doing? What's one piece of advice you'll give your pre-baby self?
Oh gosh, you've no idea what's coming. In a good way. Enjoy the baby bubble. Like that, those first, special moments when you've gone from the two of you to adding a third person to the family. It's the most magical moment of your life. And just enjoy it and stay in the bubble.
For as long as you possibly can.
Yeah, stay in the bubble. It's like when you see that couple at the cafe and they've got the baby in the, what do you call it? The little not the pram.
Yeah, the
not even
baby
the pram
carrier.
yet.
Yep.
The capsule, yeah. And you look at them and they're fussing and, cooing over the baby and where's the little blanket and where's the wrap and is it in the shade, is it in the sun? And they keep checking it and you think, wow, it's just the beginning. It's so special.
Another baby. No?
I have no time for baby. No.
And what's the most useful or useless baby or kids item you have?
Gosh, I remember buying a $12 pram, one of those little pretend prams that my daughter could put her doll in. And my goodness, that was $12 worth of value. That pram was thrashed. And then when my son discovered it, he would, walk it around the house and it used to go everywhere with us. And a dress-up box. That was invaluable. And so easy to add to. And, the kids just loved pulling it out. And, it was always my kids were quite, especially my son, is quite creative play. So he really loved, getting a sword out of there and just having, this dialogue going and his own little game. So a dress-up box. Very easy. Yeah,
they are very easy things and very effective things. And it's keeping that creative mind and that going with the children.
Yeah, 100%.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Jo, for being on the show. I've really enjoyed speaking with you this morning. It's been fantastic.
My pleasure, and thanks for your time. Lovely to chat.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Busy Mum podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. You can follow me on my Instagram account, thebusymum_podcast, or on Facebook, which is The Busy Mum AU, or subscribe to my iTunes account, which is also The Busy Mum Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Australia's newest ladies' leg shaving brand Pins. Perfect pins, pits and private bits don't have to be neglected this winter. Maintain your hair and enjoy soft, smooth skin. Check out the website today, www.pins.com.au.